Hey y'all! Welcome to Witty Witty Banter.
I'm Monica.
And I'm Paola, and today we are going down memory lane.
All right. And of course, we always try to, in every episode, show you exactly what we're going to be talking about with the clothes that we wear or anything like that. So if you peek Paola's shirt, we're going to be talking about Latin American Ensemble.
Latin American Ensemble.
And I'm sure there's a recording somewhere.
I'm sure.
I don't know if it was us that did it.
I don't remember being in the studio with Latin Ensemble for some, reasons out of our control.
Yeah. So there's good stories, and then there's also some of the stories that we haven't talked about yet, but we've been kind of like
hinting at.
Yeah, and we are going to talk about those. Unfortunately, it's a part of what we went through.
Yeah, exactly. We can only talk on the experiences that we've gone through, and we're gonna dish it out here for you all today.
Absolutely.
But first, we haven't seen each other in like 2 weeks.
I know. So, how was your travels?
It was amazing. Got to see my suegros, my in-laws. Got to be in the garden. Celebrated my suegra's birthday out there. Got to see my suegro in action, teaching construction people how to be better leaders. He did a high performance training for leadership, and so me and my husband were able to go in and watch him do his thing and actually gain some more tools for our toolbox.
Nice.
So no, it was really exciting. It was really cool. Got to meet some people that I wouldn't have if I hadn't gone there. Got to see a lot of our friends that live in California. And, as soon as we came back into town, had a gig Saturday night, had to work on, merchandise for the state fair on Sunday. And so yesterday was like my day off. I got to see one of my friends I hadn't seen or really caught up with. And she said she tuned in to Witty Witty Banter. So shout out Itzel. Thank you for tuning in. She gave us a compliment. She was like, hold on, don't lie to me. Do you guys rehearse before doing the episodes? And I was like, girl, no, we don't.
Yeah.
So if you're wondering, this is us just talking like we normally would, when we're just hanging out. And now you're part of the conversation too.
Yeah, welcome in.
Yeah. So how was your trip, your weekend?
So my trip went really, really well. I got to see family members that I haven't seen in 5-6 years. We don't go to the Valley a whole lot, and where the Valley is, for people that are not from Texas, we're pretty north. We're North Texas. We're in Dallas.
Yeah, we're pretty close to Oklahoma.
Yeah,
just to give you
like the reference of where we're at. So where we went to visit is Brownsville, Harlingen, Edinburgh, Mission, McAllen.
Okay, girl, you had like a little
little
Valley tour,
South Texas tour. Yeah. No, and then we also got to go to South Padre Island, which is one of the beaches that are down there that I love. We've gone every year since I was a kid. Aww. But again, as we're getting older, it's harder and harder to get the family together on a road trip. Yeah. I mean, we travel a lot together, but it's mostly for work, right?
Right.
So when it comes to vacation time, that's few and far between. Mm-hmm. But got to stay with my cousin Ruth out there. Ruth and Kevin, shout out to you guys. Thank you guys so much for having us in your home. They actually live in Oak Cliff. They live close to Revelers Hall.
Oh, nice.
But they just recently bought a house down there, and they're talking about it being their retirement house.
Okay,
they're still very, very young, but ultimately
goals.
Yeah, getting a jump start on that whole thing. But I wish they would come back to Dallas so we could hang out and get tacos and everything.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for letting us stay there. We got to see Ruth's mom, my tia Juani. She's having some health issues right now, and so we're praying for her on everything, because nobody likes to see their loved one or family member go through it.
Right.
We actually got to celebrate one of my band members' wives. Her name is Carmen. So shout out to Carmen. We got to celebrate her birthday, and we were super excited to be there because, I see my band members and their families as my family, so I take it to heart when we do get invited to things like weddings, quinceañeras, birthday parties, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
So for her to, invite us specifically, we're like, yeah, we'll be there. Absolutely. Dad's always like, okay, but how are we going to get there? What are we going to do? Where are we going to stay? And I get it, because dad's more of like
The planner.
logistically, like rationally, like we have to think. And for me and my mom, my brother, and myself, we're just kind of like, yeah, we'll go. We have no problem. We have no worries on finances whatsoever. But again, at the end of the day. So we actually got to stay the night of Carmen's birthday party. We got to stay with her sister, Gina. And so, Gina,
nice.
thank you so much for letting us stay there. She made it such a nice little visit, of course. So she actually has a house in the valley. She lives in San Antonio, but she has a house in the valley that she has a Airbnb. But the entire time she was treating us like, do you need anything? Can I offer you anything? Coffee, sweetbread, whatever you want. I'm like, this is nice, this is so nice. At a hotel, would never have this opportunity to get to know other people and really just get to bond with people. So that was the whole trip of really getting to see people that we haven't seen in years, meet new people that we have never met, dance a little bit, have a good time, celebrate life.
Amen.
And ultimately that was the trip.
Amazing. Yeah, it sounds like we both had a great time connecting with others, getting to spend that time with our loved ones, because it's really precious. And it's like, as we get older, time just keeps going faster and faster and faster. And it's like,
well, especially as being artists too. I mean, I know, like, once we got back into town, it was right getting back into work.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like, we have to be mindful and intentional to slow down and connect with the people that really fill our cups.
Yeah.
Because as artists and performers, we're literally giving all of ourselves to our audience, to whoever will listen,
Yeah. No, and I mean, I think that was something that was taught to us too, is like, you're leaving yourself on the stage. That was something we were always hearing at Booker T.
Yep.
You're leaving yourself, you're leaving a piece of you on stage. But I think for us, and I speak for us, not necessarily for everybody,
right,
we're the type of artists that, like, if we did not put everything 100% on the stage or however we're performing, it wasn't worth the performance.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And I think I learned a lot of those skills in Latin American Ensemble. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I think I got a lot of the leadership and like the mentality of what a show should look like, how it should feel, how it should transition between songs, and like, how do we engage the crowd. Huge shout out to Congo.
Yes.
He is our mentor, I could say.
Yeah.
Still stay in contact with him till this day.
Well, he's also performing too. He's actually performing with Havana Energy. If you ever go out to Gloria's in Addison.
Yes.
Okay, Gloria's in Addison. It's very specific.
Yeah.
Because there's Gloria's everywhere, right? But that one specifically has music, live music. I believe every Friday, Saturday.
Yes, every Friday and Saturday there's a live band, and for decades it has been Havana Energy in the middle of Addison, bringing all of the salsa and rumba to the Glorias in Addison. And so Congo was able to translate his experiences and pour it into us as young aspiring singers.
Yes.
And there's a lot of things that I carry with me because of him, and always stay in the back of my mind. Like, if you don't know, who know? If you don't know, who know? And it's like, oh shit, yeah, if I'm gonna be the leader, like, I need to be on top of my shit. I need to be able to know what needs to happen.
I think he would write some of those phrases on the board too. And he's like, what do you know? And I'm like, well.
And then he's like, where's your pencil? Where's your pencil? Your pencil is your sword.
Yes. No, like, we have a love for Congo because he ultimately was with us on the hard times.
On the hard times, he took us in under his wing and really taught us the basics. And so, you know what, we've been teasing and kind of going on the surface on things on this topic, and I think it's important for us to bring awareness to what we went through.
And what could
And
possibly happen as an artist in general, because
right,
you will have your high moments. And I think I was talking to somebody about this the other night, where it's like, not every performance, not every moment that you're singing or, doing an interview
right,
or whatever it is that pertains to being an artist, it's not always going to be like
flawless.
amazing. It's not always going to be flawless. It's not always going to be, your best.
Right.
And you're not always going to feel your best. And I think
Mm-hmm.
we felt for the longest time like dumb singers.
Yeah.
And that was a phrase that was used
Yes.
constantly in the classroom of, Latin American Ensemble the first year.
Right.
Because to give some kind of backstory
Yeah,
to,
let's dive in. Let's go ahead and bring y'all into the flashback.
so ultimately, this was my junior year, your sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, we were allowed to do what they call like electives, but it's a little bit different in the sense of this high school, because electives in a regular high school would be like, okay, you're a football player, but you want to also do like choir or art or computers or anything like that. Our electives were actually like bands, or if we wanted to cross cluster, which was we're musicians, we're in the music category, but we wanted to do like theater or dance or visual art.
Yeah. And so to give you a little bit more context, Booker T. Washington, like we've said before, is an arts magnet school. So there aren't any sports. We don't have a football team. We don't have a marching band.
Cheerleading.
There's no cheerleading. There's no like traditional PE classes. So whenever it was time for me to get my credits for PE, because we're still under the umbrella of TEA and Texas schools, we still have to get our credits. I took contemporary hip hop, yoga, improv, ballet.
I loved it.
Dude, it was so much fun. So
Mr. Richards, man.
Aw, dude, I know. And it's like we were able to get all of those like trainings, I guess, for free, how to be a good dancer, how to be a good interpreter of the music, as well as being able to get the experience of being in a band. So for us, our elective, because we were musicians, we could choose from gospel ensemble, we could choose from opera, Latin American ensemble, jazz singers, MIDI ensemble, all sorts of different groups that would give us the experience of being a working musician in Dallas, because as Latin American ensemble members, we were able to perform in different venues around Dallas. And so I think that the pressure of having an ensemble be the top of the, I guess, the food chain in high school, our instructor at the time definitely tried to instill a sense of like
fear.
I mean, I don't think he meant to put fear in us. I think he tried to empower us to gain more knowledge and not be the dumb singers. However, the way that he did it,
it's always that
instilled a lot of fear. It instilled a lot of doubt. I think our self-esteem and confidence definitely went down after that experience. And so now we're going to talk about it. Now let's go ahead and dive into our experience. We're not going to name who it is.
No, we won't.
Just to save their privacy and
of
be
course
mindful.
The people that were a part of this particular year, y'all know, y'all understand. It doesn't necessarily need to be like a specific name of a person. So Paola wore the shirt. I am wearing the uniform of what we would had to have wear. Now the dresses were necessarily not long dresses, right? So ultimately we had to wear black dresses. They had to be like knee length, was like the shortest. We had to wear heels. We had to wear a red flower lipstick. We had to look the part. Our band was all dressed in black as well. I think one of the band members at one point in time had to leave the stage because they were wearing the wrong socks. It was that. It was very specific and formal, and if you did not fit the part, if you did not look the part, if you did not act the part,
if you did not sound the part,
yes, you were not included. And in our experience, our very first year of being a part of Latin American Ensemble, we did one gig and they were like, yeah, no, like next, you're going to be next door and you're going to be working on harmonies. And that's not exactly what happened.
Right. So the teacher at the time obviously had very high standards for musicians and for what an ensemble should look like, feel like, and sound like. And in his eyes,
We didn't fit it.
fit that standard or meet the expectation of what he wanted Latin American Ensemble to be. So he basically excluded us from the recording that is supposed to happen every year
At the end of the year.
put us in a separate room from the instrumentalist. So he pretty much singled out all of the singers and put us in a room with Congo.
Well, there was also a couple of percussionists.
There was a couple of percussionists, you're right. And so it was basically a lot of freshmen and sophomore and juniors who really didn't know the genre of music, really didn't understand how these songs worked. And so he thought best to put us in a different room with Congo so that he could teach us the ropes and the basics.
Yeah.
In the moment, yeah, there was some hurt, there was some like,
oh girl,
like a lot of anxiety behind it. There was a lot of like anger behind it.
I think the first time we got into the room, I think we were all just like crying.
Yeah, devastating.
Because it was mostly like, to be honest, most of the singers were mostly female. I think my senior year was the first time we had like a male singer.
That's true.
Which, shout out to Greg.
Yeah, and we also had Humberto after he went back. So yeah, we did have a few.
Yeah, and I mean, we had Alejandro too.
That's right.
But Alejandro was our saxophone player. Shout out to one of my besties. Yes. So we had a couple of guy singers, but the majority of us were female. And of course, we felt a certain way. And us as women, we feel a certain way about everything all the time. I know for me, I was not the most confident person at the time. And I still struggle with my standards and how I hold myself and my confidence level. And but back then too, that was my very first year. I think at the beginning of this podcast, I even said, I was like, yeah, so Paola was the one that convinced me to do Latin American Ensemble. And again, for me, my Spanish was crap. Yeah. It was absolute garbage, And so I felt like that was why. I didn't know how to pronounce the words correctly. And so that's why I got kicked out. And I felt kicked out.
Yes, it did feel like we were being kicked out of an ensemble for sure, because it was just like, instead of going in, we wouldn't even start class with the instrumentalist.
No, we went to our room.
We literally had to go straight to our room.
It was like a divorce, like separation. We were going to our room, they were going to their room, and then there was no talking between. The teacher wouldn't come in. It was just Congo.
Yeah, literally the other teacher involved had nothing to do with us. He literally was just like, all right, y'all didn't do well at this gig, so now you're gonna have to go into the next room, work on the basics. And at the end of the day, that's what we ended up doing. We worked our asses off to get freaking claves down, to get harmonies down, and being able to like listen to each other, because Congo did have that patience with us. He did understand that not everybody grew up with this music, and also not everybody grew up with the skills to read this music, especially as 14, 15, 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
Not professional musicians at all. And I think that the standard at Booker T was that if you're here, you are going to be held at a professional musician standard.
Yeah, you're going to be put to work.
I honestly am grateful and thankful for, because now, like, I do have the confidence to go out into the real world and say, hey, I am a musician. I am a real working professional, and I know what I'm talking about. And I've experienced all of these different things, all of these different people, naysayers, and now I know how to navigate through these positions that I'm put in as a female artist, as a leader of a band.
Exactly.
You do get put into positions that if I didn't go through this experience, in Latin American
We
Ensemble,
would have crumbled.
we would have crumbled under the pressure. We would have not been able to take a step back. You know, at the end of the day, that's what we
Reevaluate.
had to do, is to take a step back, reevaluate, learn the basics. And after that, like your last year in Latin Ensemble, baby, nobody can stop us.
No, not
We
at
were
all.
unstoppable because we had the tools. We had somebody who was patient with us, who was willing to share their culture, because Congo is Cubano and it really is part of his DNA.
Oh yeah.
And he was so willing and open to teach us his culture, his way of doing things. How do we listen to each other? How do we harmonize? Oh, this person is on the third. This person is on the tonic. Oh, the fifth is missing. Let me go in on the fifth. You know, because sometimes some harmonies are hard. It's hard to hit the right
when
note.
you stack them too, and especially when you have to think, okay, this person's singing the middle harmony or the main. This one's singing the main harmony. We have to stack the third above it. We have to stack the fifth above it. Oh wait, we have another singer, so maybe they should sing the fifth lower. So there was different at that point. You couldn't tell us nothing.
Yeah.
On my senior year, you couldn't tell us nothing. And then of course the choreography, because we also didn't just have to sing.
Yes.
We didn't just have to talk to the crowd. We didn't just have to like get people excited. We had to fucking dance. And and I don't get me wrong, that is what kind of helped me in my career as I went.
Yeah.
Because recently I did an interview and they were like, man, to see the growth from when you first started to now where you navigate the stage. I was like, yeah, that came from somewhere. It came from my experience. At one point in time, I think I was leading like the turns, like, and if you see video, and hopefully like we'll find video, we can recover some. You'll see me and we'll be dancing all together. We had to do the exact same moves. We had to turn the exact same way.
Yep.
We couldn't be independent of each other. We all had to be like,
yep,
like
we had to be on point. Every step we had to know when we're doing it. We had to know how to count. First of all,
we had to watch each other.
We had to watch each other
with a big smile on our face.
Congo was like, these two people, these are the people you need to be watching. You know, it's like, but you're looking forward and you're smiling, you're engaging with the crowd. One thing that I always do at every single one of my gigs, even if there's only one person in the crowd, is that I will wave at the person, even if I don't know them. Wave at them, because that brings them in. And that's something that Congo told us way back. He was like, if you don't know anybody there, it's okay, wave. Somebody's gonna wave at you and it's gonna be okay. You know, like somebody's gonna like give you back that energy. And that was part of the training that Congo gave us. Like you said, being able to look at each other, being able to communicate without saying anything, nonverbal communication, cues, how to band lead. And even though there was somebody leading the instrumentalist, we still need somebody to lead the vocalist so that we can all be together and know what is going on, even though we were very secure our last year.
Very much so,
Latin American Ensemble. And we're in a good spot where I can show you the surprise. I brought a little surprise for you, Monica.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was like, you want to put your backpack to the side? And she's like, no. No, you don't.
So if you're not watching,
oh my god,
I am now holding a binder that has a label on it that says Latin American Ensemble in the middle. And it says Monica Saldivar right here on the left, and then Ellingson on the right, because he was the person who took over the previous teacher who kicked us out. And he, again, shout out to Mr. Ellingson, because he was just so supportive, you know, even though he was just like, hey, I have no idea what I'm doing here, but you guys got it.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing. I believe in you guys.
Super
like
helpful.
Super supportive, super just encouraging and empowering to us. And like, honestly, whenever he was over the band, and like obviously Congo was the main leader, because he knew everything. I definitely felt like I had more ownership of the band, because somebody said, hey, you're the expert here.
Yeah, you take care of it. You've already been through this. Wow, dude.
So this binder has all of Latin American Ensemble's charts. It has some of my report cards and notes as well, because Monica, what she did when she graduated, she said, Paola, I am leaving. I probably will not have any use for this music ever again, but you're still going to continue the legacy here at Booker T. Washington. So here is my binder with all of my stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to.
And you kept it.
And
That's
I kept
the crazy part about it.
Girl, yes, there's so much stuff in here. There's like music from choir. There's rancancan. There's like all sorts of stuff and like everything. And then
The tema.
I'm gonna actually rip this one out because it is the Latin American Ensemble theme song.
And it's all like pristine too. You kept it nice and clean.
Oh yes, girl. I mean, I just wanted to make sure I preserved these things, these memories, you know, because it's like Congo worked really hard to like put this together, and like it's kind of a relic to me, you know. It's kind of like this is
we're gonna frame it.
This is where we started. This is
really
where my performance confidence was gained. And so yeah, if this is what we had to learn in the basics room, and if we saw a line of music, we would be able to decipher, are we going to sing higher or lower than that note? And so I just wanted to show you that I kept it here. And then we have a little note there that says, music is life. Monica Saldivar, 2010, 2011.
Dang.
So yes, girl, this is my surprise.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So
wow.
Precious,
when I saw the labeling, because I still do that.
Yeah.
When I saw the labeling, I was like, no, you didn't.
Girl, you've been OCD since
and my teaching too nowadays. Wow, dude.
I know.
That's freaking crazy.
And so these shirts are also about 10, 11, maybe 12 years old now.
Yeah. I found mine, but I was telling Paola, I was like, I'm sorry, girl. I'm not as skinny as I used to be. Back then I was maybe like a $109, maybe $125, my high, like my heaviest. And now we're not even going to discuss where I'm at now. But I told her straight up, I was like, yours is like a crop top now. Mine is like Winnie the Pooh, you know? So I was like, I will just wear the uniform, if you will.
Yes.
But it was a really good memory. Ultimately, what I tell my students now is that you have to be, and then like the up and coming artists too, because there's a lot that's coming up nowadays in cumbia and in tejano. You have to be okay with the critiques. Have to be, because that's what we had to go through. We had to go through critiques like no other. We were called dumb singers. We, you know, there was so many things that were thrown at us.
We were told that if we don't know how to read this music, we're going to end up at McDonald's working minimum wage. Look at me now.
No, but in all seriousness, we got told the most.
Yeah.
And it was our curriculum. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays in school, these kids don't know nothing about critiques. I mean, they do, but in the same way, they don't.
Right.
And they don't want to hear it either. And so what I tell my students is, if I'm critiquing you, and I try to be the nicest person possible, because obviously what I experience, I don't want everyone to experience.
We experience the what not to do.
Yeah.
When you are a teacher, like, that person was in the back of my mind when I was in the classroom every single day. And it's like, oh, you're about to get to that level. Do not get to that level. Never get to the level that person got, because you don't want to be the person to implement trauma on somebody else, you know, like, because we definitely trauma bonded in that moment.
Yeah, we had to.
We're like,
well, I mean, we bonded already as friends, but then like we trauma bonded, like, and I think that's what levitated us. Some people rise above it. Some people they're just like, yeah, no, this is not for me. I'm done. But nowadays, the majority of people that are getting into music, they don't rise above it. Yeah. They're like, oh, this person told me that I suck and have no skill whatsoever. I'm done.
Right.
It's one person.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I had been told my entire life, like, you're never going to make it. Family members, you're never going to make
Mm-hmm.
it. You don't have the skill. You don't have the work ethic. You're weak. You don't take criticism. And again, I wasn't a very thick skinned person, but that experience itself made me that way. So when people ask me, like, what do you recommend for your students, for the people that are coming into the industry, for people that want to get into music? Take criticism.
That's
Take it.
great.
You have to. You
Mm-hmm.
have to, because if you stay soft the entirety of your career, or if you stay soft in the aspect of nobody can hurt my feelings, I'm on top of the world, I'm number one of these days somebody's going to say something and you're going to be brought
Yeah.
back down to
Dude.
reality.
Yeah, that brings me to like one of our first gigs ever with Sabor Puro. Um, we were at Lupita's and they were live streaming it on Facebook, and like for some reason the sound didn't sound as well as it did live, you
Yeah.
know? And so like somebody responded or like commented on there, instead of like saying, oh, it's the sound, they were like, oh, the singer sucks, like she is not good, like she needs to stop singing, kind of thing, you know? And so like you said, I've already been through that experience of being called not a good singer or experience or whatever, and like I just took it as like, wow, this is my first fan. Hell yeah. Like somebody
I'm going to
who
make you like
I'm gonna
me
make you like me, or like not even make you like me. It's just all right, bet. I accept the challenge. Like I'm gonna be better because of this.
because of what's said.
Not yeah, not like take it personally either. And
Yeah.
shout out to mi tia Carmela, because she went in, she like commented and was like, you know, basically just being
Keyboard
like, yeah,
warrior.
she was a keyboard
Nah,
warrior
dude.
defending me, you know. And I just had to be like, honestly, it just made me laugh at that point, because it was like, okay, somebody went out of their way to comment this hateful thing
That part.
about me. So obviously I'm inspiring some sort of feeling here,
I mean,
you know, and
yeah.
now people request the song that she was saying that I sounded terrible on, and it has become other people's most favorite song that we
Yeah.
do with Sabor Puro, because I took that feedback. You know, I'm not going to take it as negative criticism. I'm just going to take it
Nah.
as feedback and being like, okay, you know, maybe I could open up here a little bit better. Oh, maybe I could hit this note a little bit better, you know,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. And it's just like, now I am more confident because I overcame it, instead of like dwelling on the idea that like, oh, somebody didn't like how I sounded.
I
You
mean,
know?
even nowadays, dude, nowadays. Okay. And I'm going to talk about it because I don't talk about anything that gets posted on social media very much. My fans know that. My fans know that I try to stay out of it, because again, what am I going to accomplish telling this person off on social media?
Yeah, there's no
There's
gaining.
there's no gain. Now, if somebody else wants to defend that, I'm not going to stop nobody. Okay.
Yeah, that's you,
If
boo.
they're
Thank
going to
you.
defend me, they're going to defend me because they know me as the person, or they know me as the artist, and they know the integrity that I try to keep. Again, I am not a perfect person. You are not a perfect person. We are all not perfect people. We all have feelings.
Yeah.
But if I am in the comfort of my own home, okay?
Okay.
If I am in the comfort of my own home and I am practicing with my band and my hair is thrown up in a messy bun, and, you know, we post a video of me performing a song.
I think I know which video you're talking about.
Yes. If I am in the comfort of my own home with a messy bun and we're practicing a song that we're about to start performing because it's a new song, Dulce Venganza.
Hey.
From Tres. Shameless plug. If I'm in the comfort of my own home, why do you have to come take time out of your busy day? Because everybody is busy nowadays. Okay. You took time out of your day to have to comment, nice hair, LOL.
Well, thank you.
It's like,
you
know,
yeah.
I'm not on stage. I had
Right.
makeup on, by the way,
which no, I know exactly which
9
video.
times out of 10, I'm usually no makeup. My hair is all over the place.
No, yeah.
You
Dude,
know?
I have to commend you for even posting that. Like, you're trying to keep your fans engaged. You're literally trying to show them, like, hey, this is what's coming. Like, y'all better be ready or
Yeah.
not, And like you said, you were at rehearsal. Ain't nobody get ready for rehearsal. Like,
No.
yeah,
My hair
y'all
is
seen
not always
people.
curled. My makeup's not always like up
Mhm.
like 100% on all the time. And again, at the end of the day, I'm the one that runs the show.
Period.
I'm the one that runs the rehearsals. My band members will tell you
Mhm.
I don't waste time. I don't play games.
Right. Because we learned from our experiences.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't have time to play games. I don't have time for mean comments. I've even had comments about my weight. And that's why the reason why I joke around as much as I do is because at one point in time, it really hurt me that I wasn't
Yeah.
125 pounds anymore, or I
Right.
wasn't as skinny as I
Right.
was.
And I think this is a good conversation to have too, because the music industry standard
Mm-hmm.
is for people to be pinky thin.
Yes.
Like, that is a standard that honestly is not healthy.
Yeah.
Like, let's just put it out there like it is. It's not
Right.
healthy. And like, I've had to learn to be okay with how my body is growing or not,
It's a growth.
like,
It's
it's a
not
growth.
the fact that I'm here and I'm healthy in a place where maybe 2 or 3 years ago I was not.
Mhm.
That's a big deal for me.
Yes.
That's a big deal for me. So whenever somebody comments on my social media, because I do get it,
Yeah.
they'll either comment on the social media or the post or my band page, which is where I make my bread and butter and my,
Mhm.
businesses with people,
Mhm.
um, or even in the messenger. That's why I don't really like get on Facebook all that much. So if you see me and I'm not really posting about life, I'm just posting flyers, and I don't want to get involved in negativity because it
Mhm.
doesn't create good space for me.
Right.
Yes, I can handle it. Yes, I can handle critiques because we were taught to do so,
Mhm.
but I shouldn't have to in my everyday life.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that as artists, there is a pressure to be on social media all the
All the
time
time. You're
and
always
to
on.
be engaged and to like put out content so much. But I think that as artists, we do have to be mindful of how much time and energy we put into those things,
Mm-hmm.
especially the energy we put towards engaging with our fans, whether it's negative or positive.
Yeah.
Like, reading the negative comments, whether we decide to engage or not, still affects us in a certain way,
Yeah.
regardless of how we handle it, regardless of our coping skills. Like, it's still going to spark something.
Oh, yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, I also stay away from Facebook because that's where the comment came, and I got hacked a while ago, and I'm just like,
You
I'm
already
not
know.
trying
Yeah.
to
So
be in that space.
most of my social media mediums, if you will, is mostly Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly Instagram or even like Snap, but Snap's a little bit more intimate. I don't
Yeah.
just add anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like there was another one like around this time last year whenever I was up for my Tejano Music Award.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of like controversy about, something that didn't get posted or that wasn't a part of like the list of awards that we were promoting on my social media. And again, like I get to the point of like I don't talk mess about people on social media. I try not to talk mess about people in general because what is that going to accomplish?
Nothing.
It doesn't. It just makes you more angry. It just makes you more mad. I think it makes you more of a miserable human being.
Yeah, and your reputation kind of turns into the person who talks shit,
Yeah.
like,
You
instead of being.
become what's
Mm-hmm.
being said.
Yep.
And at that time, again, this song came out like 2-3 years ago. This particular one that was up for nominations,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I was a little bit confused as to why it was on the list. But again, it's not neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm.
When you start talking about, oh well, she's bitter, or you weren't even thankful for the fact that your picture got edited and blah blah blah, because at the time I was going through I had gained a lot of weight because I was going through health
First of
situations.
all, why are people editing pictures nowadays? Bro, what?
Which at the time
And you should be thankful
I should be
that I
thankful.
fixed your body for you. Excuse me?
Ultimately, it was, to me at the time when I first saw it, it's just like, these are people I gained relationships with. These are people that I got close to. And then once the song was done and the picture was done for the specific song, we completely went opposite ways.
Absolutely.
And not in the sense that I wanted to, because I genuinely thought I created friendships, I created relationships with these people. It got turned into something that it wasn't. And then it became this whole thing of, you're ungrateful, like you're bitter, that's why you don't talk about the song. We cut out a part of the song of your voice, and so that's why, like, you're bitter, and you're ungrateful for the fact that your picture got edited. Which, the reason why it was brought up is because, again, my weight situation was a lot heavier. I was dealing with a lot more health issues. They knew that, and still proceeded to promote that shit anyways. And I know for a fact that once this episode comes out and, like, my parents, they're gonna be like, what were you thinking? Honestly, critiques. It goes back to critiques. It all circles back. What I'm trying to say is, you're gonna have people that are gonna look at you and they're gonna try to find something they don't like about you. Your character, your weight, the way you sing, the way you perform, the way you interact with people. And I'm like this right now because I want people to understand that the reason why I don't respond to the negative criticism, because if it was about my voice, then it would be something that would be meaningful to me. You talk about my weight like as if I don't know. You talk about my, the way I handle myself in front of people, like as if I don't know. And that's why I close myself off. That's why I don't talk to a lot of people after the gig. I try to, I do my job. I'll take my pictures. I'll sign my autographs with the people that actually want to interact with me. But the moment I get off a stage, or the moment that I'm not promoting something, or we're not doing this, it's my time.
Yeah.
It's my time to turn off. It's my time to be a human being, rather than, oh, she's an artist and she's this and she's, yes, but I am also.
Yes. Yeah. Like, I think I've talked about this before, that I kind of had a struggle between feeling whole without my voice.
Yeah.
Right. So it's
we talked about that.
We did talk about it. And so it's like, what people don't understand a lot of the times is that our identity is not just what we do for a living, and so it's like,
or what we can do for people,
or what we can do for others. Yeah. And I think that us sharing our voice and doing that, it is not only our job, it's also our identity for sure. And it is also something that we choose to give to others because we do love it. It is something that we are passionate about. We love to do what we do. However, we also love and enjoy other things about life. And so, yeah, I think it's important to unplug away from the negativity and even like all of the pressures of what people expect of you,
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we have our own. Again, you don't think we see what we got going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you know how hard it is for other people? Thankfully, my family is my backbone, and my friendships, like you and another friend of mine named Alexa. So shout out to Alexa. I have people in my corner, thank God. But can you imagine somebody that isn't me, that doesn't have that support system?
Yes, of course.
You talking about their weight, or you talking about they're this or they're that, or they've done this, or whether it is true or not. Not everybody's going to have the same backbone. Thank God I have mine.
Yes.
But
amen.
It came from situations that we went through at Booker T, through Latin American Ensemble with Congo.
Yes.
I had to gain a backbone. I didn't have one. But thank God I have it, because these negative comments, they have consequences.
They do.
Any action has a reaction, regardless of if you wanted one or not, which I'm sure people do.
Or else they wouldn't be saying the shit that they be saying.
But yeah, so at the end of the day, I make music, I create music, I am the artist that I am today because I want people to feel something with the music.
Right.
I don't care about what I look like. Yes. I mean, I do put effort into what I do. Don't get me wrong.
Right. But I think what we say with like, I don't care what I look like, is more of like, I love my body so much and I am so comfortable in my own skin that I honestly do not care what other people think I should look like, because I love this body who is able to do the things that I can do,
Yeah, who
you know?
carries me throughout my days. My legs, I
Mhm.
have my legs, I have my arms, I have
Mhm.
think, thankfully I'm in a better health position than I was 3 years ago, 2
Mhm.
years ago.
Yeah.
Um it took me a long time to love myself. It took
Mhm.
me a very long time to love myself. I didn't love myself right off the bat, and high school was tough
Yeah.
on that specifically. But being 30 years old now and looking back at my younger self, I love myself now enough to know that I don't have to take shit from nobody.
Yep.
So, again, if you're wondering why I don't respond to hateful comments or, stupid things about my hair or my weight or how bitter I am, which I'm pretty
That's an
happy.
assumption. Dude, okay, so at the training, um my suegro's like assistant mentee, he kept being like, "Well, that's an assumption. You're assuming something." And so now that's like in the back of my mind. It's like, well, people saying that you were bitter, that's an
Oh,
assumption.
that's a big assumption because
Like,
I was genuinely very happy for these people and this song is great. I'm not going to talk
mhm.
about it, but this song is
Yeah.
great. It's still out, people can still listen to it. But at the same time, I don't wish nothing bad on nobody. There's been
No.
so much done to me, Paola, and I don't wish bad on nobody.
No.
I don't.
Mm-mm.
I wish nothing bad. I wish the best for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Even the people who cross us and like make us feel less than what we are, at the end of the day, it's like we're going to go take our path and we're going to take it with faith, and we're going to wish you well. Like my mom always says, like, pray for the people who did you wrong, because
Mhm.
obviously they need it more than you do at this point,
Yeah.
because they're the ones who are bitter. They're the ones who are angry. They're the ones who want to share negativity to bring people down. So obviously they need a little extra, prayer and smile and empathy,
Yeah.
because obviously they're battling with something else and are trying to bring you down to their level, instead of what we decide to do is rise above it and keep in mind that we can only control what we can control. We can only control
Mhm.
our actions. And if we choose to not engage with the negativity, it's so that our mental health can stay at its prime, so that when we go on stage, we're not breaking down, we're not throwing shit at people, we're
Yeah.
we're maintaining that standard of professionalism. And I think that that's a like great thing to do as an artist. And a lot of the times when you do get in the pressure of your fans, or the pressure of the paparazzi or the press or whatever it may be, you do end up like popping off. And we've seen it with a lot of different artists in the industry,
Yes.
so like we have to be mindful of our own mental health. How much can we handle from people, and how much are we willing to just say no?
Yeah.
No is no. And
And
that's
respect
something,
that,
yeah. And that is something that I am learning, is like, okay, how do I say no? How do I tell people my boundaries and like really set that standard so that I can be treated the way I want to be treated?
Right. Yeah.
And so I think that our experience, whether it was negative or positive, definitely brought us to this stage of our lives where we can start setting boundaries. It's like, no, you know what? You're not going to talk to me like that.
Mm-mm.
No, you know what? I am a professional. I know what I am talking about. We can do this cordially, or we can do this online, to where we can just, or like email wise, or, just set those
Yeah.
boundaries of like, I'm not going to work in a toxic environment. I'm
Mhm.
not going to be exposed to negativity. And it's just like, it's up to each individual person to set those boundaries.
Right.
And I feel confident that after being in Latin Ensemble, I am a professional. I do know what I'm talking about. I'm not a dumb singer.
We're not dumb
We're not dumb
singers.
singers. We can be dumb, but we're not dumb singers.
we got some moments, but that doesn't define.
Ah, but at the end of the day, like we got to play at the Wind Spear.
Yeah,
We got to
when it first
play when
opened.
it first opened, the Opera House in downtown Dallas. We got to play at many fundraisers with amazing meals
Oh yeah, the
and
food was always
really,
good.
really high end people in Dallas, Texas. We've been able to perform in festivals and perform for our peers. Like inline ensemble, I always get told that when I perform, I'm like the only person who comes out of the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Like everywhere I go, they're like, "Oh my god, nobody ever comes
I
down. Like
remember
you're
that.
the only person who comes down." And guess what? The first
You
time I
still
did
do it.
it was at Booker T
Yeah.
during our like lunch performances where our peers would come out and just sit down outside. There was a little amphitheater thing outside,
Yeah.
and we would perform there for our peers. And like that was the first time I was like, you know what? One of my favorite songs to sing in Latin Ensemble was Perfidia. And it was just like one of those like love songs. And like I was able to just act it out. And I could go over to one of my guy friends and like be silly and make them feel super embarrassed and on the spot. And I was like, hell yeah, I
But she
love
stays in
this.
character.
Yeah.
That was the thing. So like when she first did it, we all looked at each other like, is this for real? Is she for real? Like, and she would walk out and she stays in her character, her novella character. And to this
Mhm.
day, you
Yeah,
still do it. You
till
still
this
do it.
day. And so even though we did dive into the more negative side of things, because I think that we've suppressed it for so long,
I think it needed to come out first.
it needed to come out first and like air it out. But I do want to highlight all of the positives that came from being and overcoming that experience.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day, like I said, after we learned the basics and we really knew how to really sing these songs, internalize this music, we were able to flourish as performers.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was able to stay in character, like you said, really know what I'm talking about, really know what I'm singing, so that I can then act and portray what this song is about, because not everybody knew Spanish.
Right.
But guess what? I'm going to make you feel what these words are
Exactly.
with my performance. And so at the end of the day, I grew so much as an individual, as a singer, as a performer, because of Latin American Ensemble.
Absolutely.
And so I think I owe my gratitude and my career to this ensemble here.
Yep. No, and I agree with you 100%. And the people that have also been a part of it, because Vanessa was also a part of
That's
it too.
right.
You know, the people that have been a part of it, they will tell you it was worth it.
Absolutely.
It was worth it in the end, because
Absolutely.
there's a lot of our alumni, there's a lot of our peers that went into it and came out completely different people. I can tell you, like, Ethan was definitely one of them.
Shout out to my bestie Ethan.
I remember going into Booker T and meeting him for the first time, and just completely different person.
Yeah.
Just completely different person, which wasn't a bad thing.
No.
I think he grew into this amazing, like, universal type percussionist, drummer, which helped a lot.
Yeah, and because he was in Latin Ensemble with me our senior year, I called him up as soon as I was ready to start a band. I was like, hey, I need a drummer. You're like the only person I know and trust right now. So like, are you down to do this with me? And he immediately was like, yes, and is now an integral part of Sabor Puro. Like, he is a core member of the band, and he gives so much of his creativity to the band. And I know that part of it is because of the Latin American roots that we were given by Congo, you know, the basics we were given by Congo to be able to express ourselves through clave, through salsa, through rumba, through cumbia, you know, all of the different genres that we played with Latin Ensemble definitely brought that sense of security in the genre of cumbia. Oh, yeah. You know, so shout out to my band members. Yes. We're almost there. We're working on releasing a single September 27th. So y'all be ready. Absolutely. It's coming.
No, and then, you know, just to kind of talk about like maybe one more person. Every now and then, my saxophone player Mike has responsibilities that he has to take care of and everything like that. So I would reach out to Alejandro sometimes, and Alejandro's actually been performing with me like a couple of times. So one time when we opened up for Signo, so that was a big
that's a huge
deal.
Gig, yeah.
And then we also got to do perform at Roundup for the Latin Pride party, and you were there, and it was so much fun. And so shout out once again to Alejandro. it would be such a disservice to not say that, I got one of my Latin American Ensemble brothers to
Yeah.
come and perform
Yeah, and I'm glad you said brothers because like you really do feel like family.
at the end of the day.
And when we talked to Vanessa, who, if you haven't seen her interview, go ahead and check it out. Vanessa Ayala. She's an engineer, recording engineer that also went to Booker T and went through the Latin American Ensemble program. But when we were talking to her, I had mentioned that every time we meet somebody who went to Booker T, they instantly become family. Like
Yeah.
you instantly have that bond, and then you add the layer of Latin American Ensemble,
And it's just like
and
the
it's just
salsa on
like,
top.
yep, the little salsa in your taco, and it's just like, dang, like now we can really relate. And it's
Yeah.
like, bro, can we talk about these things with somebody who knows what was going on, because
Right.
like people have different perceptions of different things, and it's not until you really try it or go through it that you can understand
Yeah.
the impact.
No, for sure.
Yeah, but this was amazing.
Yes. So before we end the episode, I do want to have like a few little announcements, right?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, we are part of the Epic. We're a part of Create Epic. Okay. And so I do that a lot. Okay.
Okay.
So we are a part of Create Epic. There are a couple of things coming up, a lot of different performances that are going to come up. One performance in particular is going to be an actual talent search. So Vibrant Rhythms talent search is going to be September 26th of this month. We do have guest judges. Paola has actually judged before. She might be able to do it again. We'll see.
We'll see.
But it'll be hosted by yours truly. Another thing that's not part of Create Epic, though, is going to be West Main Festival, which is going to be in Arlington. It's going to be this weekend. And shout out to Mark Jokel for that. He is the one that is in charge of that. There's going to be food, there's going to be vendors, there's going to be bands. It's going to be a lot of fun. So please come on out. I will be out there supporting some of my friends, some of my students as well. And last but surely not least, September 21st. I know I'm all over the place, but September 21st is not a Create Epic event, but it is Jesse's benefit. A lot of people are confused as far as the posters because one minute it was $10, the next minute it was 15. We are trying to create a link right now so that people can buy pre-sale tickets at $10. So before the event, they will be $10. At the door, they will be 15. So if that link doesn't come through, just already assume that it's going to be $15. And the reason why is because it's a super important and good cause. We are helping Jesse Fonseca and his family after he experienced a stroke in July. He has a long recovery process to go, and the donations will be for his medical expenses. It's going to be at Southern Junction in Irving. Okay, a lot of people got confused with that too because they thought it was in Grand Prairie. It's going to be in Irving, okay, at 7 p.m. There's going to be a lot of performances. Paola might come up on stage and get up there and sing with me, a couple of solo artists, as well as many different bands. So please come on out and support.
Yes, definitely. And I also want to do two more show announcements.
Yes.
September 19th is actually Alejandro Terra's La Peña show. And if you haven't seen that interview, he was our first interviewee. So shout out Alejandro. We're definitely going to be there and support your show.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be so much fun. Yes, absolutely. And it's going to be here at the Epic, September 19th, I believe 7 p.m.?
7:30, but come at 7. Just come at 7. It's right next to Epic Waters if you have no idea where that at, like where that whole thing is. But yes, it's going to be in the theater at the Epic. And
then September 27th, I have two shows with Sabor Puro. We're going to be on the Yingling stage at the State Fair opening night. So make sure to come out and support because we are the resident artists this year. And the second is a free event for the public, and it's going to be at the Latino Arts Cultural Center, which is in downtown Dallas by Deep Ellum, and it's going to be from 9:15 to 10:15. We're going to do a little after party with the Latinidades Fest.
Nice.
So make sure to come out to both or one of the events that we have with Sabor Puro and with Create Epic.
Yeah.
We would love to see you guys and connect with you. Of course, like always, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Spotify. The TikTok is up, the Instagram is up, and that is where we are going to be able to connect with you guys on a deeper level. So please make sure to DM us if we didn't cover something that you are curious about. Send in your DMs, send in your questions so that we can answer them on our Burning Questions episode. Yes. And one more thing before we go, stay tuned for our interview next week.
We have AJ Solis. And if you don't know who that is, you're going to find out.
Bye, guys.